Hello everyone, I'm Fumeng. I'm a postdoc at Northwestern University. I will be sharing our work, Serving the Public, Impacts of Election Forecast Visualizations on Emotion, Trust, and Intention in the 2022 US Midterms. Here are three highlights of our work. First, we did this study with real data and real voters along the real-world timeline. Second, we forecasted the 2022 US governor elections in 33 states and recruited participants from 15 uncertain states. Our study ran from October 18, 2020 to November 23, 2022, involving 1,327 participants. Third, we showed that election forecast visualizations have real-world impacts on voters' emotion and trust, and slightly their voting intention. In this video, I will briefly introduce what we did in this work. First, we have our own forecasting model for the 2022 governor elections. We update this model almost every weekday in October and November 2022. This GitHub repository has our code and partial update logs. Using our model, we built our own forecasting website. And the first page of our website is a grid map of the US. The colors show the forecast vote margin. Blue colors mean one of the dominant parties, the Democratic Party, and the red colors mean the other dominant party, the Republican Party. The darker the color is, the larger the forecasted vote margin is, and white means that we are very unsure about which party is going to win the state. So next, let's look at our first visualization, which is called one quantile dot plot. And we use annotations to show the meaning of a dot to avoid confusion. Under the visualization, we have our survey questions to measure participants' emotion, trust, and voting intention. And we also show how other days look in the model. And at the bottom of the page, a visitor can enter other states or go back to the main page. For the same visitor, we always show them the same visualization. But for the purpose of this video, next, I will show a different visualization. Here we show two quantile data plots. They overlap with each other and show the vote share distributions of both candidates. And here is the third visualization, which is an animated visualization and called political quantile dot plot. It uses a physical and probabilistic analogy to show the data generating process. Briefly, each dot bouncing on a peg reflects a Bernoulli distribution, and a sequence of bouncing resembles a binomial distribution, which finally approximates the normal distribution of vote share. And the height of the political ball represents the level of uncertainty. The taller the ball is, the more uncertain we are about the election outcome. Here, because we are very unsure about the outcome in South Carolina, therefore the political board is very tall. In Georgia, because we are more sure about the race is going to be a 50-50 split of vote share between the two candidates, therefore the height of the political board is much shorter. Each dot represents a possible election outcome, and 100 dots show 100 possible election outcomes. And the last visualization is two intervals, which shows the vote shares of both candidates. After election day, when we know the election results, we update our first page again to show the election outcome. Here, colors simply mean the party winning in the state. And let's look at Georgia again. We annotate the election outcome onto our visualization. Here, the white dot shows that Cam won in this election, and our forecast is actually very good for Georgia because the election outcome is basically our most likely outcome. We also update our survey questions to refer to future elections. And for two dot plots, we annotate both candidates' vote share onto our visualization. For Plinko, we use another white dot to show the election outcome, which is also dropped with other dots. Let's be a little patient. We are experiencing the uncertainty again. And here we go. And Cam wins this election. Finally, we also annotate election results onto two intervals. We did three waves. The first wave collects demographic information. The second wave collects response based on pre-election forecast. And the third wave collects post-election comparison responses. And for quantitative results, please refer to our paper on supplementary materials. We also have a very strong qualitative results session in our paper. Here, I will just share some costs from our participants. This was a very serious risk for all states due to many voting on Roe v. Wade at state level, which hasn't been done before to my knowledge, at least in many of our lifetimes. It was important to many to vote their voice, to voice their opinions and to pay attention to the candidates on where they stood on the issue. This forecast might influence people because the results are clear and presented as facts. This is different than ideals and hopes. Maybe the reality of the results will cause more proactive behavior. And of course, there is skeptical voice. I have no objection with any of this. Your forecasts turned it to think the race would be closer, but it's obvious that Christ was never really expected to contend in most scenarios, let alone win. Thank you so much for listening. Please refer to our paper and later videos to learn more.